everybody's favorite grandma. And her phone went, and of course she was slow in her reaction, so she had to paw through her bag. It went on, and she was getting more and more flustered, and then when she got it, she didn't know how to turn it off. Because it's like her granddaughter gave her the phone, and so it, the entire room is fascinated by this drama, the old lady with her technology.
So should we turn it off or not?
Turn to mute.
Sounds like entertainment.
The entertainment? No, that's okay. All eyes on me. Turn the phone off. Saves you embarrassment. Especially Michael. While Michael is like requesting Dharma, he's stuck. If his phone goes off in his pocket, he's got trouble. Oh, awkward. Yeah.
Chính Đà Đức will the Sangha
with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo saranto sucedoye olahudi samyao samputoshe.
Namo saranto sucedoye alahadi samyam sambuddhoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持， Yen Je Rulai Zhen Shi. Over here on the right, the unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in hundreds of thousands, of millions of eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I've come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning. Venerable Master and Dharma friends, welcome to our sutra lecture tonight. The Guanyin retreat is just concluding up at CTDB, so we've got a much smaller house than usual. That's okay. We like to invite women on this side and men on this side, if you don't mind, if that's okay. A little awkward, but it feels good later. That's how it works. So, a little bit of pain, much gain. What are you talking about? Okay, never mind. That's all right. Just say tradition. Tradition. We had more people online 2 weeks ago than we had in person, which is a gain, I guess, that folks are finding us a field, which could be as far away as Taiwan, and often is, Australia, other places. On the other hand, we also have a number of folks from Oakland who just don't want to be bothered, like to leave their armchair to come, up to Berkeley, about 15 minutes drive. So, we gain and we lose. So, all the same, technology has come to us so quickly. I am of the generation that remembers 1,200 baud modems. And remember, it was when it did the handshake, and then what were you able to do? You were able to type in ASCII, a green blinking cursor, blink, blink, blink. And it was a BBS, the bulletin board system. And my job was one end of ask a monastic, any Buddhist questions, ask a monk, and did that for years. The Tiger Team, the bulletin board was called Tiger Team. Gary Ray was the fellow, still is, and we were the only Buddhist-related bulletin board online, anywhere. And so, now this is ancient history. This is like 2002, I think. 2002, is that right? So, pretty interesting how this all... No. 1994. The year before we got here, 1994. Yeah. So, we're going to start by invoking the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the Avatamsaka Assembly, which you'll find there on the front of your sutra text. And please join me in reciting those names and see if we can't bring sacred presence here. Namo Tafang Guang Fo Hien Ji Hien Hai Hui O Pu Sa Namo Tafang Guang Fo Hien Ji Hien Hai Hui O Pu Sa Namo Ta Phang Quang Phổ Hóa Yên Trì Hóa Yên Hai Huy Phổ Pu Sa Nam Ta Phang Quang Phổ Hóa Yên Trì Hóa Yên Hai Huy Phổ Pu Sa Nam Mô Ta Phang Hóa Yên Trì Hóa Yên Hai Huy Phổ Pu Sa. Please turn in your text. This guy? Turn to page 10 and 11. Should be the last page. Last week, Jin Fo Shi, Jin Chuan Shi stood in and led us through this section of our text to the list of what are called the 12 links because we've come to the end of our translation section, we've got to do another chunk to then bind them up, print them up and bind them up for next week. So we're going to finish this and then reiterate. We're going to go back and review. Spend our time well. So the bottom paragraph, it says 四十离别 down at the very bottom, the last 4 lines, over on page 10. So if you look at the Chinese there, we'll read that and then go over to the right where it says parting happens at the time of death. Okay, so I'll give you a line and you give it back. Here we go. 四十离别余密贪恋心胸烦闷未酬涕泗至节未叹在五根为苦在异地为忧忧苦转多为恼汝是担忧苦数增长无我无我所无作无受者 All right. Over to the right, English. Let's read together in unison. Here we go. Ready? Parting happens at the time of death. In our confusion, we feel greed and longing. This leads to troubling and misery, melancholy and grief. Tears flow, followed by wails and lamentations. The 5 sense organs know suffering. On the ground of the mind, this becomes worry. As worry and suffering increase, they turn into afflictions. In that way, a tree of suffering grows and increases. But in this process, there is no self, nor anything that belongs to self. There is no doer of deeds, neither is there a receiver of actions. What we're going to get tonight is pure prajna, wisdom. This is pure insight. There's not compassion here. This is not the night to talk about compassion and that warm, fuzzy feeling. This is cold, clinical analysis. This is microscope time. You're looking through the Buddha's vision at where suffering comes from. Clinical, right? This is the doctor saying, my charts indicate I've done my diagnosis, you're sick here. This is where you're sick, right? This is what the doctor's saying tonight. It's not, oh, I'm so sorry. There's no room here for feeling. It's not warm. So if we understand that, then we see what we're getting. Before I go into the words, into the text, I wanted to reiterate, I wanted to say again, remind everybody what the Buddha was about, what the prince was about. The prince grew up in luxury, but suddenly saw it was going to wind up in misery. It was going to come to nothing. He looked ahead, saw that, and he asked himself one important question, which was, is this inevitable? That was what started the whole thing. And if we keep sight of that, then Buddhism, the whole arising of the church of Buddhism, the institutions of Buddhism, all the different schools, all the different robes, all the things you see around you, appear to be leaves on the tree. Many different colors, many different phases. There's fruits, there's flowers, there's leaves. Some are fragrant, some aren't. Some have needles, some have leaves that fall. Leaves on the tree. They all go back to one root. And this is the root. So no matter whether you are a Pure Land Buddhist, a Chan Buddhist, whether you like what's called secret school, whether you're a karma yogi, you like to serve, whether you are purely based on faith, I believe I'll be saved by Guanyin Bodhisattva. Whatever your style of practice, that's all leaves on the tree. Comes back to this. If you grab this, the rest of it connects. And it doesn't matter whether you're yellow robe, brown robe, gray robe, white robe, black robe. That's all the outer covering. It comes back to this one root, which was this very intelligent man full of blessings who at one point said, I don't want to die. Do I have a choice? That was the question. Do I have a choice? Or, maybe more fundamentally, what's going on here? That's, pretty basic question. Why die? 2 words. Why die? 为什么要死？不能避免吗？ Why do we die? Can we avoid it? So, we get 2 questions. Why die? 2 words. Okay, that was his question. And it was enough to propel him out of luxury onto the path. This is how he answered. Tonight's lecture, last week's lecture, this part is the answer to that question. This is the answer. Do you want to know why die? Why do people die? Why do I die? Must I die? This is it. This is his answer. So, important, fundamental. And as we've been moving through this thing called the 6th ground, the 6th stage, I've been coming up with these analogies to describe, to try to put a context on it so it's not so foreign, so it's not so distant, so it's closer and ours. What's the context? Talking about things like, how do you relate to your car? Many people relate to their car this way. That's it. That's all we need to know. Got that? Or even now, this, right? Punch. And if you have a hybrid, you just, hit the button. You don't even need that. And pretty much you hold on to this thing and you press that thing and away you go. If you hear a noise, if you smell smoke, drive over there. Pay them. They take care of it. We don't want to know. So a lot of people don't want to know. Fair enough. Many people live their lives that way. We basically know, here's where the food goes in, I missed. I went, good, hit it. We pretty much find that put the food in, that's good. And we know when we're asleep. And we don't much ask about the rest. How do you feel? Feel bad. Take this. Oh, Tylenol. I feel better. Thirsty? Drink. So it's just like the driver, Here's the steering wheel, here's the pedal. Go. So if we live that way, no problem. Perfectly okay. Probably most people do. Some people want to know more. They look at their car and they, pull the lever and the hood goes, and they lift the hood, prop it up. Here's that engine. Oh my God, look. The engine is all those processes going on that make the car run, better or worse. But in general, they get in there. They want to get their hands dirty and figure it out. That's what this is. The hood has been lifted on our lives in this section of our text. The Buddha lifted the hood up and said, here's what's going on, and that all those things are going on right now, just as we sit here in the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery on Saturday night. All these things are going on. And the Buddha would say, did you know that? And if your answer is, no, I didn't know that, and furthermore, I don't care, he'll say, bless you, come around again. It's happening anyway. Whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, this is what's going on. Lift the hood and you'll see it. Okay, another analogy, maybe one that's close to home for some of us. I am of that generation that started out with CPM as my operating system. You have to be a certain age to know about CPM. CPM, how many people ever used a CPM computer? Am I the only one here? Yeah? Whoa. Oh, so old. How many people have worked with MS-DOS? Oh, well, see, you're all the same age, right? CPM predated MS-DOS. It was one of the earliest command line operating systems. And there were two monks in the monastery. Hung Lai was one of them. We know Hung Lai, Dharma Master Hung Lai. And another was Hungzo, Gary Linebarger. And they were both lift the hood guys. They liked to they could get their hands dirty in machinery, and then they switched to the computer. They get their hands dirty in the operating system. But what I learned about CPM, and then later with DOS, and then later with Windows, was you needed to be able to swear a lot. Because I would be in the office next to Hung Lai's office, and I would hear, "Damn it! Damn it! Ah! Damn, you know, we got to get the driver. Oh, have you got the driver? No, I can't download. Man, I'm offline. Okay, well, let's see. I know somebody. I'll call him. He's got the driver. No, call him. Does he know how to set it? No, it doesn't link with the printer. No, the protocol's all wrong." And it was like, that was part of computing, was the ability to swear, and just, because it was always breaking. And you always had to match up. Oh, it's buggy. Oh, it didn't. And, and so I was like totally unaware of that. Why? Because from 1989, I was an Apple computer user. My first Apple was a Mac Classic, right? Anybody ever Mac Classics? Okay, there was Mac Plus, it was Mac 2, Apple II, and then there was Plus, was the first modular. Then there was the Mac Classic, then there was the Mac, what was the next one that was the which? No, Lisa was before. Anyway, so then they went on. Then it became the Power Mac and the Power Mac 2, and started to grow, stuff. So so we had the thing about Apple. Yeah, please grab a seat. Welcome. Pick one you like. So the thing about the Apple was, it was all done so you didn't have to ever lift the hood, right? It just worked. It just worked. And we're not going to fight the platform wars tonight. That's not what, we're here to do. But the idea was, I never had to match a printer or a driver. I never had to sync in it because it was all done by Apple. It was a closed box. You couldn't lift the lid much. And, but it was still the idea that some people simply liked, right now to this day, we just like it to work. You don't want to do lots of effort to get the thing to do what you want it to do. You want function, put it away, right? The whole PC, Microsoft, going from CPM to DOS to Windows, was you had to do a lot more work to get the same kind of function. So people assumed that was just part of computing. Well, on the Apple side, you didn't. Mostly you just clicked. And you had pictures, and you could drag it to the trash. Hey, just real life, drag it to the trash. It wasn't, other stuff. Now, both PC users and Apple users, I would say 95% of them didn't know or didn't want to know that every time you looked at that monitor, there were lines and lines and lines and lines of 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. 8 places where you could put a 1 and a 0. You put that together in the right way and pop up on the screen, you got text, A, B, C, D, because your video card, 1, 0, 1, 0, is there down with your input-output, with your, coming off the chip, and super, super, super complex computer code. What is it? It's ones and zeros. 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1. 8 8 bits make a byte, right? How many megabytes? How many gigabytes? On like that. It goes down to 1 and 0. That's the guts. Tonight in our sutra, we're looking at the ones and zeros. Okay? That's a long analogy to get you back to this text. This is the ones and the zeros. Most of us don't want to know. We want to go click, oh, I need to check my date book. I need to look at I'm going to go online. Works. Don't think about it, right? If we live our lives that way, works, don't want to think about it, feed it, sleep it, drink it, that's enough. Okay, the Buddha would never say, you're stupid, you're bad, you're wrong. No, it's like, okay. Should you, like the prince, should I, like the prince, go, I'm going to die. Is there anything I can do about that? This is for you. The Buddha would say, oh, well, since you've asked, sit down, let me tell you about it. Because that's what he did. He didn't want to simply die in ignorance. Just grab the years he had and then happily go off to ignorance. It wasn't enough for him. That's the key. All right? So if we got that much, then we start tonight. That's the Buddhist project, fundamentally. All the rest is the leaves on the tree. That's the root. And the interesting thing is, he had an answer. He came up with an answer. And what we have tonight represents what he saw. So tonight we're looking at that experience of life with the hood lifted up. Here's the engine. With the guts of the computer, the software, functioning, doing its thing, with with our pistons and flywheels and belts and combustion, the valves, all functioning right this minute. As you're sitting there, as we're sitting here, my talking, you're listening, it's happening. This is real time, in vivo, what's going on. Okay, that's the whole introduction, right? Ready to jump in? Got you contextualized. You've got the environment. Now let's move in. We've looked at the map. Let's start walking. 此时离别欲觅贪恋心中烦闷微愁. All right, this paragraph we looked at tonight is the end of this description. Last week, Jinfo, Jinchuan gave us what are called the 12 links. Paragraph above. 12 things were described, 12 steps that happen that end up, number 12 is what we read tonight. Tonight's step is what the Buddha didn't want to happen. He didn't want parting, confusion, greed, longing, trouble, misery, melancholy, grief, tears, wails, lamentation, suffering, worry, affliction. Right? We read those words tonight. A lot of, sounds like grief. Sounds like the blues. Now, what's amazing about the passage 2 weeks ago, last week, and tonight is the last line. When you get to the last line, you get that flash of Buddhist insight where he says, okay, suffering is the misery and the pain is the end of those 12 steps. But you know what? There's nothing there that suffers. And you go, what? Either you're woofing or you're like, are you teasing? Is that a joke? Is there a punchline I'm waiting for, Does somebody pop out from behind the curtain and say, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain? Wizard of Oz, right? What's going on? Why does he say, there's all this suffering and there's nothing there that suffers? It seems like a contradiction. He's either joking or I don't get it. Either that or it's just Nonsense, forget it. Who cares about this stuff? You know, like, what's your reaction when you hear that? What does he say? In that way, a tree of suffering grows. By the way, the folks who just came in, page 10 and page 11. Page 10 and 11, all right? In that way, a tree of suffering grows and increases, but in this process, there is no self or anything that belongs to self. There is no doer of deeds, nor is there a receiver of anything happening. So, there's no self, there's no me, there's no mine, there's no action, there's no receiver of action. All right, how could he say that with a straight face? I said at the very start, tonight we're looking at what's called wisdom. This is prajna wisdom. It's not compassion. This is not the warm and fuzzy part. This the Buddha's saying, take a look. It's as if he were saying, take this water, put it in the freezer, it turns to ice. Take that ice cube, put it on the counter, turns to water. Take that water, put it in a pot over the fire, turns to steam. Is that compassion? Is the Buddha describing sympathy? No, he's saying this is a process. This is what will happen when these elements come together. When that pulls this will react. This is the reaction you get. It's a physics textbook, what we're looking at. This is physiology. It's the body. It's physics. All right? Cold. This is scientific description of what the Buddha saw. Okay. Now, we're going to go back up. We're done with this. That's all. We're done with the amount of text we have translated. Next week we'll add to it a bit so we can move on through. So, because we're done with the text, I get to review. This is the fun part. Let's go back up. Page 10, page 11. We've got what are called 12 links, and they were described last week. He says, disciples of the Buddha, this Bodhisattva Mahasattva, this awakened being, makes the following reflection. We're going now into the mind of somebody with wisdom, who's seeing the process. He says, she says, ignorance is what we call failure to understand truth in the primary sense. What is truth in the primary sense? This is a term the Buddha gave us to talk about humanity, your life, my life, which is what? There is no self in reality. That's truth in the primary sense. D-E-E-D, okay? Deep, right away we're deep. You look at the mirror, I'm there. The Buddha would say, you look in the mirror, who's there? You go, well, it's me. All right, who are you? I'm the reflection in the mirror. All right, well, I want to know more than that. That's superficial. Are you your eyeball? Well, no. Are you your bones? Are you your tongue? Are you, blood? Are you your breathing? Are you your... He would say, you look into it, show me the self. And pretty quickly, if you're honest and you're looking deeply, you'd say, I can't find that. I can't find that self. Buddha say, right, now we're getting somewhere. All right? Are you your memories? Show me. Are you your happiness, your anger? Are you your habit? Show me. Can't find it. Now we're getting somewhere. He would wrap it up and he would say, self is a constructed self. It's a way of looking at a combination of things. And those things are in process. They're not static. They're not here forever. They're changing every minute. Take a shower tonight. You'll leave parts of your body in the drain, right? Skin flake, hair, sweat. We're in process. The self is a construction. We make it up as we go. It's in progress. It's not static. It's not long-lived. Who were you when you were 2 years old? The person you see now? No. Who were you 20 years from now? Real different. Right, the Buddha would say. Okay, it's a constructed thing. It's not real. Don't take it as real. He would not say it's totally false. He would say it's a useful construction. don't take it as real, permanent, genuine. Because why? It's moving on. Are you your brother? No, I'm me, that's my brother, but we're both, when you analyze it, made up. We make them up. And then he goes in and he goes you the parts that we make, right? He says, where do we get to that self? How do we get to that self? He says, ignorance. Ignorance is what you call not understanding that the self is made up. If you think it's real and true and you bank on it, you're ignorant. And it's not, he's not saying fool. He's not calling you a name and getting mileage out of you being a fool and I'm smart. It's not a name. He's not calling you a name when he says ignorant. That's a technical term which in Chinese is called wu ming, no light. You don't have light, you can't see it. What's the difference between waking up, the way the Buddha did, and unawake? Ignorance is gone for the Buddha. He sees it. He sees this made-up self going. He doesn't take it as real. Still uses it. You still have to sign, your driver's license. You still have to sign your checks, sign your credit card. But you don't take it as real. That's the difference. Wu Ming and Ming. Ming is light. You're awake. You see it. It's not real. You still operate in the world, but you don't take it as real. That's the difference between waking up. Truth in the primary sense is seeing that all the time. If you see that the self is a construct, for example, you don't get upset when somebody calls you a name. You don't have to punch somebody when he says, your mama, something, right? My mama, you don't know my mama. Why are you talking about my mother? What's the problem with you? You have trouble? Bless you, friend. My mother had nothing to do with you, Can you do that? Who can do that? No, it's boom, Like, so ignorance is, you can't say that. Why? That's ignorance, because you think it's real. Buddha goes, dude, how's your mom? Are you hurting? It's like, can I help you? It bounces off because there's no self there to react to. But that's really, really, really hard to do. 99 out of 100 folks, you say you're a mama. You better get ready. So, ignorance is the name we give to what? Not understanding that the self is a constructed self. It's not real. All right. Now, that ignorance is the first link. Because of that no light in there, because we think this me is really real, that I'm really here and really important and strong in the center of the universe, I'm the single most important unit in this whole play out here, right? Because we think of that, guess what? We do stuff. It's called activities. Xing, right? That's number 2. That's the second link. That activities, that link, page 10, page 11. Yeah. Because of that ignorance, because of not seeing, we put it into action. We do stuff, right? Activities is number 2. And says activities is what we call the karma that we create and its retribution. Monica, you want page 10, page 11 here, up at the top. So, because I think that self is real, so somebody insults me, man, knock him down. Knock him down, guess what? He's got big brothers. They come calling. We got real trouble. Karma and its retribution. Somebody hurts somebody bad. You want to hurt them back. Boom, 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 boom. Karma and retribution. Karma is a neutral term. It means action. Karma doesn't mean bad. Karma doesn't mean fate. There's all kinds of ways we misunderstand. Karma is one of those words that's gone into our vocabulary, mostly misunderstood. We think karma means fate. Not. Karma is neutral. It means action and what happens. It's action and reaction, those two things. Plant that seed, here's what comes up. That's karma and its reward. So, because of link 1, ignorance, we don't see that the self is just a way of looking at things. It's a way of ordering the world, mostly because we don't see the heart of it. So we go out and we do stuff. We love stuff, we go for it. We hate stuff, we run from it. And in the process, kill, steal, lust, lie, drug. So activities are set in motion. Once action is set into motion, it pulls something else along. They're linked. There's a link. Okay, so now we got 2. Actually, we've got 3 because we looked at the last one, the suffering part. We already checked that out. 1, 2, what happens next? The Buddha says, lift the lid, lift the hood of the car, pistons go around, valves open, gas and air come in, push, combustion pulls the piston, the crankshaft goes, the flywheel turns, goes out to the differential, the wheels run, the car moves. All those links, right? That's the process by which we, unless you have a hybrid. You have a hybrid, we have to start over, right? Electric batteries, that's another story. Okay, what happens next? Consciousness is number 3, which is we go into action and something inside, we'll say mind, wherever the mind is. The Chinese would say here, we go here to our head. Consciousness, we're aware that something happened. Something happened. I felt that. Okay, consciousness. Consciousness, well, how do you define consciousness? It knows the difference. 能分别 is consciousness. Consciousness goes light, dark, sweet, salty, smooth, rough, pleasant, unpleasant. Consciousness is really deep. It's not even, there's no words yet. Okay, but we're doing it right this minute. Okay? At this instant, how many of you are aware of the temperature in this room? Is anybody like suffering because of the cold in here? No, wait till January. We will, right? We have the heater going. Anybody in here like sweating because it's so hot? Not particularly. And if I hadn't mentioned it to you, you might not even have thought of it for, because right this minute, Berkeley, California, October, it's pretty nice. But once I say, are you aware of the temperature of the room on your skin? Suddenly it's like, oh yes, kind of okay, If you put your mind on your skin, suddenly we're aware, consciousness kicks in. If I hadn't mentioned it, we're aware of it, but it's not primary, right? Here's another consciousness, right? 现在就改到中国话不讲英文，完全讲中国话，结果怎么样？多少人听不懂？ Something changed. What did I do? I switched into it's like consciousness is going, what's that? What was that? Ear consciousness. Okay, so we're doing it right this minute. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, temperature, mind. That consciousness function is the ones and the zeros are in there doing their thing, but we're just moving the mouse. We don't know. Clicking on that. So the Buddha says, right, ignorance, go into action, and something happens. You see that pretty girl walk by, your eyes move. You see that handsome guy go by, your eyes move. Or shoes. I don't notice shoes. Anybody here notice shoes? Probably this half of the room might maybe say, yeah, this half, maybe not, I don't know. Like, I don't see shoes. I know people who like shoes, they're always aware of shoes. Shoes go by, you see them? Ugg boots. Are Ugg boots hip anymore? I don't know. Boots, So it's like, that's activity. That's step number 2. And consciousness is the awareness of those boots. All right. So they don't move me, but there are people who do, right? Other things move me, other stuff. Consciousness is what we call the first thought on which activities 意志, it says, which means what picks out. Here's another one. I did a pilgrimage at one point in my formation as a young monk, and I was with a colleague, Marty. Many of you know him. Marty, before he became a monk, he was a major martial artist. He had his black belt in Taekwondo. Before he met martial arts, he held the all-American sit-up record. He could do 1,300 consecutive sit-ups. 1,300. And he was going to be halfback for the Air Force Academy, but he didn't. He went to Wisconsin instead. He was a tough guy. So then he became a martial artist, and it was in his practice of Chinese wushu that he met Buddhism. Anyway, he's got very keen eyes. This guy has the eyes of a martial artist. He would write down, 'cause when we were doing our pilgrimage, we were both writing, and he would write down his impressions of stuff that he saw. And he would say, I was watching the highway patrolman today. The CHP stopped to see us. And I was watching the patrolman, and I could tell by the moves of that one that he was a trained martial artist. The other guy was wide open, totally vulnerable. I could have taken him in an instant, you know. Marty he knew how to kill you with a rolled up newspaper, you know, or with 2 fingers. And his eyes, he would see somebody walk across the street and know immediately where they were vulnerable. Me, I was barely aware that anybody was walking, you know. His eyes are a martial artist's eyes. He can tell to this day. He's got that ability in a blink to see how you're using your muscles, how you're balanced, how your chi works, you know, and where to take you if you need to. And he doesn't speak languages. He speaks English. He's struggled with French his whole life, got D's in French class, and pretends to speak Chinese, you know. And I have an ear for language. You know, I can tell languages. So people have different, that's the consciousness, how consciousness works. Everybody's got a different weight, balance, blend of consciousness, all right? So consciousness is what we call the first thought that my eyes noticed. I saw the shoes. He saw that foxy girl, you know, whatever you call it. All right. What happens next? We got 3 links. What does that pull? Consciousness, Buddha says, because of the way we're built, what we do is we classify it. We categorize it. We want to know it. Our mind wants to know it. My guess is it's pretty deep. Because why? You better know if that thing can eat you. How fast do you need to run? When your eye catches a movement, you better know if that can eat you. Is that a tiger? Is that a 4-legged animal that's going to pursue you and knock you down and eat you? Is that a friend? Are they holding a weapon, a spear, a bow and arrow, a knife, a stone? You know, I think it's really deep. I think this is probably based on survival. We categorize. We go, who is that? Oh, that's Cousin John. That's Uncle Jim. You know. So we go, friend, foe. I think it's that deep. And we do it really quick. Okay, so what do? It's called name and form. Ming Si. We name it. Okay? So at this point, as this process unfolds, as we link into intellect. Right? Your mind is going, okay, I know that one. Oh, I hear that tune. That's Muddy Waters. You know, playing that guitar. Lucille. That's, you know, Chopin. Because I was trained to listen to Chopin. I know that Chopin. Oh, that's last year's beat. Or that's a new sound, I haven't heard that one. You know. So we name it and we form it. That's step number 4. How does it go? Name and form is the name we give the four grasping skandhas that are born along with consciousness. Ooh, a lot of technical terms in that one. The Chinese says, 与师共生四区运，名为名四. With consciousness together born, four kinds of skandhas. All right, let's unpack that. This is a big one. It's now coming from the root up the trunk of the tree that we're building here. This tree called my life. What happens when we are conscious, we're aware that something moved, we want to, okay, what do? Okay, there's a whole singles culture. I don't know if I'm not there, I'm a monk, right? I don't go out to single. The singles culture, you go into a place where men meet women, where women meet men. One of the first things you look for is, right? No ring, chances are she's available, he's available. Okay? I don't live here, you know. There's no wedding bells in my future, right? So I'm not aware, but I know that's an important thing. Why? What do? You go out, you name it. You form it. Married, right? Unmarried. Oh, no ring, unmarried. Okay, you check that box, right? Name and form. That's name and form. So, okay, you're like, let's do a simpler one. Let's say you're driving a vehicle, red light, green light. Better know the difference. If you're driving out there, I hope you know the difference, because I'll be driving. Don't want to meet you if you don't know the difference. How about that paint stripe? Paint stripe in the middle of the road. You better stay on the right side of it. Unless you're in Australia, in which case you better not be on the right side of it. I don't drive in Australia. I know my old habits are going to kick in. I'm going to turn directly into merging traffic someday. Oh. So it's in Australia, somebody else drives. So name and form keeps us alive. You better know if that's a tiger coming, and if that tiger's hungry. If that's a bear coming, and that bear's hungry. You better know. Name and form, it says, what does it do? It brings the skandhas alive with consciousness. What is that? This is another, we could stop here tonight and end the lecture, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep this going. So we'll just go quickly. The Buddha described what makes a human as 5, he called them aggregates, components. The word skandha means a heap, a pile of stuff. Every person here is a pile of stuff. What are we? Body and mind. What makes a person? What makes a mosquito? What makes a trout? A kitty? Body and mind. And then he takes the mind and he divides it up into 4 more things. A total of 5. 5 heaps make a person. Consciousness is the last one. So he says there are 4 others that come along with it. They arise together. Right at this 4th link, the name and form link, we've got an actual functioning person. Okay? Name and form. Once you know it, once you name it, once you give it a form you recognize, this is an entity. It exists. You can know it. All right? So intellectually, now in this process, we've got an awareness of it. What are we doing? We lifted the hood on life. The Buddha says, this is what's going on. You want to know? You want to know what's going on underneath that computer cover? This is what's going on. What's the end of it? Misery when you lose it. We're not there yet. That's step 12. We're back on 4. Okay? With me so far? This is a lot, right? It's a lot of stuff. But this should be taught as basic education. This should be humanities. This is where people come from. Why do we study like business when we're not clear on this part? You know, I'll go out and buy and sell from you, but I don't know what's going on in here. So this is what's going on. All right. Name and form is what we call the 4 grasping heaps that are born along with consciousness. So now there's this thing out there, this unit, this functioning. Name and form increase and become the 6 places. Substitute senses for places. Liu Chu, that's the name is here. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. Now this human is there functioning. But it works the same for animals, for fish, for birds. The 3 aspects, which are the sense organs, states, and consciousnesses, combine and become what we call contact. Okay, that's step number 4, number 5, number 6. So when we have name and form, once I go out and I say, yeah, she's really cute and she's unmarried, I want to know who that is. She's not my relative, it's not my cousin, it's not my relative, so maybe there's a possibility, you have that thought in your mind. And furthermore, you do a scan, you go, okay, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind, this human being. Okay, good, I know. Potential mate, right? This is primal stuff. This is what we do as we go through the world. We look, we look. Look at those shoes. I don't have a pair like that. I wonder what they cost. We start analyzing. We start looking at the stuff and analyze. All right. What happens next is contact. It says 3 things come together: sense organs, sense object, and the consciousness. So eye meets a sight, and my eye works very well. Recognize it. Good. She's not my cousin. She's not wearing a ring. Maybe I'll go talk to her. Right? So what happens next? Contact. You go over and you make contact. Right? Now, it's not, how are you, what's your sign? Do you work out? What are the things, what are the lines people use? Having fun? Something. It's not that. It's the eyes make contact. The ears make contact. The tongue, body, mind. Sense organs and sense objects contact. So it's still very basic. Still, this is a essential process that's going on every single time. I'm speaking, you're listening. These links are rolling through. They're tugging each other along. All right? What do we got? Contact. Contact happens, then there's feeling. We could use any one of these senses. We could use food here, and you'd get it all. What is it? Put that food in your mouth, and it go, yum, that's delicious. That's contact and feeling. Show. Okay? There's feeling. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, bland, plain. Right? What happens? If it's feeling that you like, next thing that happens is love happens when feelings are, interesting word here, colored by attachments. Dyed. Ran so is the Chinese word here. Meaning, we contact something, we like it, love it. Now, you could also substitute hate, interestingly. We have a strong reaction to it. We take that neutral contact, those feelings, and we say, ooh, more. That was really pleasant, more. That's what's called stained or dyed or spoiled by craving, by the love for it, right? We love it and then we want it. Trouble now, because why? We're setting ourselves up for loss. Because why? It's changing. It's not a permanent thing. There's nothing in here that is going to last, including the thing that's doing the grasping, especially the thing that's doing the grasping. It's all, you could say, voluntary. It's all temporary. It's just pulling one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. All right? So stay with me. Still going here. Love increases and creates grasping. At this point, we're attached. We don't want to let it go. We're gonna fight if we lose it. Okay? Existence comes about when karma without flows arises from grasping. Boy, this is code language, isn't it? This is difficult Buddhist terminology. What does it say? It says, ai zeng zhang shi qu. When love grows, there's grasping. Qu so qi you lo ye wei you. What's next is existence. It's real now, because we have created it. It can stand on its own. This thing that in myself that I've now created, that I've now pulled, linked into existence. And karma without flows means you've already acted. You can't take it back now. You can't stop it at this point. Okay? Once skandhas come from action, it's born. Once it's born, it's going to die. Inevitable, just the way spring follows winter. Okay? So, we've just gone from 6 to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Birth happens when the thing that's born gets old. Death is when it falls apart. So there's 12, 11, 10. Those last three. Okay. That's a lot. That's a whole lot of stuff. But the Buddha is reporting just the way any scientist reports the results of an experiment. It's as if he was looking through his microscope and said, I see this. This one links to the other, links to the other, links to the other, links to the other. And the result is what very few people want, nobody wants, which is parting at the time of death, greed and longing, trouble and misery, melancholy, grief, tears, wailing, lamentation, suffering, worry, affliction. Misery. Misery happens because of step one, which once that's there, it's really hard to not move. There's something that, something goes bump. Okay? All right, so there's our 12. All right, good? Everybody? We just got all these, so many words, so many ideas, right? Got to clean our slate. Shake the Etch-a-Sketch. Get the dust out. Start over. That's why we do music, because it helps to, All right. People would say to Shifu, it's just, why is it this way? And he would say, why do you think that girl is beautiful? And if it was a guy. And the guy would be, I don't know. She just is. Shifu would say, exactly. Wu Ming. No light, don't know. Ignorant. But it's real, huh? Yeah. Don't know. Right. Why? We're in the dark. In that first step, we're in the dark. And then somebody with a philosophical bent would say, well, Shifu, where does the trouble start? And here's the mystery. Here's the mystery and the magic, which is there's this primary mover. In Christianity, they say this is where God acts, which is what? In the midst of nothing going on, something moves. Something moves. This is where poetry can come. Poetry helps here. Because why? If people could just be content with the fullness of our lives, with the magic of existence, that's paradise. But we can't. Somebody would say, because we get hungry, so we go looking for food. Somebody would say, because we get, horny, we go looking for the opposite sex. We can't be still. Can't. It's just part of being a living being in the world we're in. Unless unless you're a meditator. Why meditate? When you meditate, you sit still and you go, boy, I've never felt so good in my life. I feel really full. I'm in this state of equilibrium. I'm in this state of balance and harmony. I'm in the center of things. And furthermore, I know that I'm like not really real. You can see it. You can see through the things that we think are so real, right? You can see the lack of self. It's your experience. In my experience, when I'm sitting here, I really see that what I took as so real and important is not so real and important. I'm not the center of the world, right? And so what? When the impulse to move rises up, you can go, no. And the links fall silent. Okay? This was the Buddha's awareness. He saw that these links can be broken. They can be broken. Interesting. Okay, who does this? People who can enter samadhi, as we say, ru ding. People who can meditate to the point of the dhyanas can actually, from that place, break through. They talk about the states of the gods, the devas, all right? The devas, particularly the devas in the Brahma realm, the form realm, that's just beyond desire. The devas in the realm of form are in this state of samadhi. They're in the dhyanas, right? And their lives are very calm. What about our teacher's teacher, Master Empty Cloud? He was famous for being able to cross his legs to meditate, and a week later, uncross them, open his eyes, go out and ask how the crops are going, and whether you patch the roof in the meantime. And he'd meditate for a week. And people go, well, how does he go to the bathroom? That's the first thought. How does he go to the bathroom? Did anybody check his email for him? What? They must have 1,000 emails. So those are questions, right? And what's going on? How can he sit there that long? He could. Because why? His desires were not so strong. He pretty much had everything he needed. And was he dead? No, he was not dead. Did his thoughts rise? I don't know the answer to that, but certainly whatever rose inside, he could sit through it. Has anybody ever been in a fight with somebody, spouse, sister, brother, parents, boss, enemy, and had them throw their best insult at you, push your button, and you don't react? I have, a couple times. Like, I can remember every time it's happened, probably twice, Every other time it's like, got to respond. But a couple times, somebody has delivered their best punch, or they know I'm attached, and you go, no, it's not worth it. On the other side of that, when your color drops again and your heartbeat goes back to normal, there's this feeling of freedom. What pushes your button? What moves you the most? Everybody's got them. They're called the 8 winds, right? The 8 winds. Grief, joy. I won't go through the list of the 8. But they're things that push us around. Praise, blame. Somebody blames you for something you didn't do. Can you sit still? Or do you have to say, that wasn't me. ah. You know, if you do, you got blown by the wind of blame, right? If you go, I know. If you don't know, what's the difference? If you can do that, there's this immense freedom, because what blows most people around didn't blow you around. Oh boy, right? Right in these 12. You saw that it really wasn't you. This constructed self that you think is, most of us every day think is so important, it's phony. It's an illusion. It's useful, but it's an illusion. If you can let it go and those buttons go by you, you've broken through ignorance. And you're free. None of these things tug, because the fundamental wombing didn't go into action. Okay, 12 links. Where can you break them? Traditionally, in the Tiantai teachings, this is our standard, school for describing Buddha Dharma, they say, Wu Ming Yuan Xing, Xing Yuan Shi, Shi Yuan Ming Si, Ming Si Yuan Liu Ru, Liu Ru Yuan Qu, etc. They go. So, and the verb every time. So ignorance conditions activity. Yuan, it's to pull, to condition, to set up, to tug, to lead to, right? That's that verb every time. They say, okay, if Wu Ming Mie, Zi Xing Mie, Xing Mie Zi Shi Mie, Shi Mie Zi Ming Si Mie, Ming Si Mie Zi Liu Ru Mie. The verb every time is when it's over, when it's broken, when it's destroyed, when it's extinguished. When ignorance is extinguished, there is no further activity. When activity is over, there's no further consciousness. When consciousness is over, distinguished, destroyed, there's no further name and form. When name and form is over, there's no further six sense organs. When the 6 sense organs are distinguished, instead of yuan, to pull, they say broken. The first one is ignorance. What does ignorance mean? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I don't see it. It's dark in there. I look at it, she's beautiful. That's all I know. So I just wanted to, get close to her. Those shoes were so cool. So I just had this greed, and I just felt like they, whatever it is. That BMW was cool. Not a BMW. Give me a Tesla. There's a new Tesla. I want it. I'm moved by it. So whatever it is, that's the right. And if you can, then who needs a Tesla? Suppose you're going across the country. There aren't enough plug-in stations. Get 300 miles out of it, you're stuck until it recharges. Unless you get the bigger one, and that costs more. We have a friend, Sam, who's got a Tesla. He's got the big one, and he lives in San Jose, and so he wanted to go to CTDB. So he has to figure out overnight, because why plug it in 300 miles. He can go from San Jose to CTDB, and that's 150. Well, he can probably make a round trip, but what if he goes to get a cup of coffee in Ukiah and he runs out of electricity somewhere near Fremont? He's not home yet. So you got a whole different way of thinking about it. How many miles do I get per charge? Miles per charge. But he's got a cool thing. He's got the key fob for the Tesla. It's the car. It's in the shape of the car, and he wants to open the hood. He presses on the hood of the car key fob. It's cool. And you go and you lift the hood, and guess what's in there? Nothing. No engine. Right? It's like, cool. Batteries, little batteries, thousands of little batteries. Electric car. So whatever it is that makes you, whatever wind that blows you, that's Wuming. Why? I don't know. It's cool. You kind of, cool. So somebody who meditates is lifting the hood on that process. You do it. You don't have to get a degree. You don't have to buy a membership. You don't have to fill out a form, sign your name. Sit still. Meditate. Jerry.
Question on the action.
Did you get the right color? Let me try the other one. This one is, wait. This is the green. Pick up the red. Okay.
So, question on the action. The link of action, I think the link is still there. Well, I mean, no action is still a kind of action, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the link is there, no matter no matter I take the action or not. Say I'm driving, I'm taking action if I turn right, but
Okay.
also I'm taking action, continue to straight.
The last sentence, if
If I'm driving forward,
right.
I'm taking action if I turn right,
Okay.
but I'm still taking action if I going forward, continue going forward.
Mm-hmm. And so, therefore,
So the link is still there. So I don't, I'm not able to understand. I think I don't know how to break a link
okay.
because I'm taking action no matter if I take action or not.
Okay. Okay. Put that question in the context of somebody sitting still. Because that's where these came from. The Buddha did not invent the 12 links, he saw the 12 links. Where did he see them? He was sitting still. Okay? The story goes that he didn't want to die in ignorance, so he left the palace. He spent the next 6 years wandering through the forest, trying every kind of yoga he could find. Every kind of gong fu he signed up. Every kind of discipline. He was there in the morning doing it, right? And he went to extremes of starving himself, came back to the middle way. Finally, he got to that tree and said, I'm sitting here until I wake up. I'm not going to leave this area. No more studying. I'm just going to do what I know. So, that's when this insight happened. Okay, Jerry's question. Link 2. So from ignorance, there's wuming yanxing, right? Ignorance goes to activities, actions, doing. There's movement. Let's just call it movement already, right? So you're sitting still, there's movement. You can break that if in your meditation you see your eyes go out, your ears go out, your nose, your tongue, your body, or your mind. That's all you got. Those are the bases of action, right? Those 6. And if you see them move, you can choose not to react. So your question, turning left is activity, going straight is activity, I don't agree. Not going left, not going forward is mie, xing mie, is the destruction of activities. Right? So your theoretical model, action, going left is action, not going left is also action? No, it's not. Not according to the Buddha's experience. Because why? This description, these 12 things, are reality-based. This is experiential. This is not a theory. This is a physics textbook. Okay? So the Buddha said, if ignorance is the cause, activities can't be stopped. Because why? You're going to move. Just say something basic. You're hungry. You know you shouldn't kill that chicken, but you're starving. Worse, your kids are starving. Your spouse is starving. Right? There's a chicken. You're a vegetarian. You don't kill. You hold the precept. That chicken's edible. How hungry are you? How hungry are they? They're crying with hunger. Edible chicken? Ignorance can't be stopped. Okay, so we were playing around talking about, Teslas and shoes. talk about something primary. Hunger. You know, if your stomach's hungry, your belly's empty, you'll do a lot to satisfy that hunger. Okay, so the Buddha's saying his project, we're going down to the roots. What's the project? Wants to stop suffering. Wants to put an end to the grief and worry and misery and affliction that he sees at the end of life. Your mother's dying, all right? Your spouse is dying. That's grief, all right? So, do you have to go through link 12 times to get to that point of affliction? He's saying the links are inevitable if ignorance is the cause. If you break ignorance, they are not inevitable. That affliction is a choice. At that point, you can choose. If ignorance is the cause, you can't choose. It's going to happen. Here's what happens. Okay? So does that make sense? Or did I understand the question? So your model, turning left is action, not turning left is also action. The Buddha would say, no, sit still. Because why? If I said it's all experience. You will experience, as you're sitting there, the choice to move or not move. Because all action, from the subtlest thought to jumping up and, giving somebody a big hug, whatever kind of action, is all it's all preceded by an impulse. When your mind is really quiet, you see it. You can see it. It's true. Having your ears move out to sound is predated by an impulse. Yes, sir. Tell me your name again.
My name's Brett.
Brett, yeah.
I have a question that's kind of related to saying about meditation. Sometimes I have difficulty with boredom, and it makes me have like negative thought processes.
Makes you have a negative
thought processes, and I want to know. Like, sometimes I try and meditate and just like accept boredom during meditation, and sometimes that's difficult. I was wondering if you had any advice on like how to deal with boredom and from a perspective of like meditating.
Right. Yeah, good question. So Brett's question is about boredom. Boredom in meditation. That experience is universal. Everybody has that experience until your mind calms down. What do I mean by that? We mostly live overstimulated, especially with cell phones. They were doing studies now that smartphones, not with flip phones, right? Flip phones, you wait for it to ring, punch the number, you talk. That's it. Maybe a calendar. Smartphones, now, what was it like? 80% of the owners of smartphones have them by their side, not only when they're awake, but when they're asleep. Why? Because we're fascinated. You can watch Netflix on your phone, Like, you used to have to go pay $12 and go into the theater and sit there with popcorn before you could watch a movie. Now it's like, right there in your hand. So we're overstimulated. The absence of the input is what we register as boredom. It's just lack of input. All right, that's not basic. What's basic is you can discover for yourself if you put on a backpack and go out to the Sierras, right? Go walking beyond the grid. You go out where there is no cell phone reception. It takes about 3 nights. And you get to this place where not only are you not bored sitting still, you realize you're in this incredible matrix of nature. It's not boring at all, right? So the boredom that you feel when you sit still is mostly missing stimulation. It's almost like our senses are scar tissue, you know. But that goes away too, because we're always renewing, we're always like regenerating. So what do you, if you can't go out to the Sierras, what do you do? Mostly, meditation is not very often a solitary thing, unless you're a real hermit who's out, doing it. Mostly meditation happens with a group, with discipline. So here's to stay in the world, not have to go out to the mountaintop, to stay in the world, if you can find a group and sit for 30 minutes today, 30 minutes tomorrow, 30 minutes the next day, by about that fourth day, you've transferred that sense of boredom to the bell or the incense. It's still got 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Ding, I did it, Then, like by the second month, your senses are fresh and clean, and the time you meditate becomes the best part of your day. And what you realize is all that busyness is external to your experience, and you're creating all that stuff. So does that make sense, Brett? It's like boredom is it's a, how do you describe it? It's not basic. There's a level below boredom that you get to by practice. So disciplined practice will get you to that clean place. Yeah. Shoot, time is up already. And we just touched it, the surface. This stuff is so rich because it's wisdom. It's what's really going on. And the thing one of the things I like about it so much is the Buddha is putting it in your hands, in our hands. He's empowering us to sit still and watch this process. Now, the thing about the 12 links is they're going really fast. They go by us in a blur. And we don't realize that every time our six senses touch something out there and we love it or hate it, we're into the links, And yet, the first time I sit still and feel it rise, and we go, let it go. Ignorance is broken. And the flip side of these links is also true. You're free. This is so empowering to allow you to step out of this process simply through the application of one particular dharma called patience. Patience. You wait it out. You wait it out. You let it go. And you can just exhale it away. First you have to see it. But if you can see it and you go, yeah, well, I'm meditating, thank you. I know that would be great. That's beautiful. It's just, there's the whole story is out there. I can see it unreeling, blah, 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 blah. The whole play is going, there'll be another one. Let it go. I'm meditating. You're free. And if you can do that, thought after thought. That doesn't mean you turn into a bump, a robot, a zombie. No. You can choose to go, but most of all, you have choice for the first time. It doesn't pull you, right? You used to just see your dad and it just made you so upset. Now you see your dad and you see the forces that made him the way he is. You go, boy, you want to give him a hug because he's still in there trying. You think, I didn't have his battles. I got my own battles. But I see the process. And suddenly it all flips around. And so from this, seeing this, compassion can arise. But this is the brutal clinical wisdom analysis of what takes us from I don't know to ouch in 12 steps. Right? Okay. Now we'll get the next bunch of text for next week. Somebody notices I got 2 guitars here. Why do I have 2 guitars here? We reversed the 12 links on this particular instrument. It came back from death, being reborn without suffering. How is it reborn? This is a dumpster guitar. Bless his heart. This guitar was in Georgia in a dumpster. Somebody had tossed it out, and my friend Matt Hayden, who's a luthier, guitar builder, said, "Send it to me. I'll see what I can do." So you can see it's got lots of scars. It was rebuilt. You can actually see daylight between the joint here. It was rebuilt. And by golly, listen. It sings. Born again. It's a born again guitar. So, this is the Harmony Sovereign, reborn from the dumpster, given a second life. And I promised it I would perform with it tonight, dedication of merit. So I kept my promise. Put new strings on it. It weighs nothing. It's just, lighter than air guitar. John Sebastian in Woodstock played a Harmony Sovereign. So this guitar has a pedigree. New strings, ready to go. So let's transfer the merit, and you'll find that in the back of your songbook, right there. We would like to invite you to send your merit and virtue out to the world. However you choose to do that, whatever wish you might have. I read today that in Barrow, Alaska, since temperature has been recorded, has never varied more than 2 degrees from its cold, the way it's always been. It's always been within 2 degrees of as cold as it usually is, right? Never different. In the last 2 years, Barrow, Alaska has deviated 7 degrees from how it always was before. They think it's the ice. They think the ice is melting way, way, way faster than we thought. So NASA said if it only changes 2 degrees, we can pretty much keep things together. There won't be major catastrophic changes. Now it's 3 times 2 degrees plus 1. A change that nobody expected, and the ice is melting way fast. There were, in September, 35,000 walruses gathered on a shore in Alaska because there was no more ice for them. Walruses have to pull themselves out of the water. They can't swim all the time. They pull themselves out on ice floes, and then there's food around, and they can eat there, and, there's no more ice, so 35,000 walruses congregated on a beach where there should have been ice, there wasn't, and they got them pictures from, spacecraft, and they were afraid that the baby walruses are going to get trampled because there's too many, they can't hear each other. So dedicate your merit to make the planet slow down. It's melting. The bay is right there. What about when that's 12 feet higher? We might have beachfront property right here at the monastery. So our American genius is in marketing. Maybe you want to invest in rubber duckies or flotation devices make a killing in swimming pool. I wish that was a joke. Doesn't that sound good? Reborn. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward, may all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, this sounds good to me. Not too shabby. Okay, in your songbook, please, if you will, turn to page, I believe it was 42. Let's see. Yeah. This song is not in its final form. It's still evolving, but it arose out of this discussion of the 12 links. It's called Light Up Your Mind, which is that first link, right? If you can light up your mind, you break the ignorance. So one might hope we could light up our mind. It's as I say, it's in progress. So we're light up your mind, leave your shadows and worries behind. With the Dharma of the Buddha, light up your mind. Waves on the water, drops of rain, watch those thoughts rise and fall again. If you quiet your false thinking, you light up your mind. So this is written for meditators, right? It's a meditation song. Bodhidharma called it dhyana because he's Indian, right? The Chinese called it Chan. The Japanese called it zazen. So now make it your own. Whatever you call it, just meditate to dhyana, to Chan. Okay, so that's the chorus, the Bodhidharma. Now I was just tossing out verses, and there are too many verses here. We got to kind of prune them down. So see which ones are, Facebook thumb or Facebook no. So tame your greed, take only what you need. We are learning independence. Light up your mind. Watch your breath, rising, falling, birth and death, It's right there. We are learning concentration. Light up your mind. Here's the chorus again. Hold your precepts purely. Light up your mind. In dhyana, concentration, afflictions unwind. So you take that 12th step all the way back to no more ignorance. Okay, this is a meditator's, this is probably one of the ones that won't last because it's specific to meditators. Live with pain, either focus or go insane. You can make it through the hour. Light up your mind, right? That's what happens. You're in there meditating, and if you can concentrate, the pain goes. If you're thinking about this and that, ooh, every thought, boom, 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 boom. You can't stand it. You got to drop your legs. Can't make it through the hour, right? Take it on. Through the pain gate, trouble's gone. Sit still when you can't bear it. Light up your mind. Again, that's only a meditator would identify, right? You're sitting there, your knees are burning. If you can go through the pain, suddenly it's like, oh, where'd it go, right? Bodhidharma called it dhyana. The Chinese called it chan. In Japan, it's called zazen. Now make it your own. Light up your mind. You have one eye open in the land of the blind. With the Dharma of the Buddha, light up your mind. Hold your precepts purely, light up your mind. In dhyana concentration, afflictions unwind. So, light up your mind. Don't seek, and you will find both the answer and the asker of the question. Light up your mind. So this song is, it's in progress. Light up your mind, light up your mind, leave your shadows, worries behind, with the Dharma of the Buddha. Light up your mind. Waves on the water, drops of rain, watch those thoughts rise and fall again. Quiet your false thinking, light up your mind. Bodhidharma called it dhyana. The Chinese called it chan. In Japan, they call it zazen. Now make it your own. Watch your breath, rising, falling, birth and death. We are learning concentration. Light up your mind. You can hold your precept purely. Light up your mind. In dhyana concentration, afflictions unwind. Live with pain, either focus or go insane. You can make it through the hour. Light up your mind. Take it on, through the pain gate. Trouble's gone. Just sit still when you can't bear it. Light up your mind. Bodhidharma called it dhyana. The Chinese called it Chan. In Japan they call it Zazen. Now make it your own. Light up your mind, light up your mind. One eye open in the land of the blind. With the Dharma of the Buddha, light up your mind. If you hold your precept purely, light up your mind. In dhyana concentration, afflictions unwind. Light up your mind, light up your mind. Don't seek, and you will find both the answer and the asker. Light up your mind. More to come. Song in progress. I promised myself I would no longer sing songs that I hadn't finished yet. They were still in progress. I've discovered that if I don't do that, I never sing them at all, you know. So you guys are the guinea pigs. I should flash a light, you know, song in progress. Listen at your own risk, right? Okay, announcements include Dharma Master Jin Fo has decided to offer a class in calligraphy. Mao Bi Zi, writing with Chinese writing brush. And what did you discover? What did you decide? Any decision, Jin Fo Shi? When is it going to be?
We still discussing together and I think next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
November?
Yeah, November.
On Saturdays?
Yeah, Saturday.
What time?
After Namfo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3
I
o'clock?
think 3 o'clock to
Great.
4 o'clock.
3 to 4. How do people sign up? Where do they come find you?
Yeah. I think so far have 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. If anybody has ever wanted to learn how to use a Chinese writing brush, this is a chance. Jin Fo Shi has taught in our schools, taught summer school, summer camp, here in the monastery. So it's a whole world of Chinese characters. So here's a chance. November, we'll be beginning. You want to find Master Jin Fo? We'll start our class.
Oh, I think maybe one join. Please talk to the Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's Sandy. You can talk to Sandy. She'll be happy to get you signed up.
Yeah.
Great.
And also, yeah, I think she will take care of all the material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to offer the materials, or do people have to bring their own, or so they just come to the first class, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll hear more about that as we get closer to November. Yeah. So the Chinese calligraphy is a wonderful world. This is true. People say, of all the martial arts that keep going longest, the first one to fall away is Shaolin. Wushu, pretty much 35. You're done. You know, you can't do the stretches, the splits. We should ask Locke. Locke knows. The other ones kind of go away. Tai Chi, you can go for a long time. Qigong, you can go to your 80s, 90s. Calligraphy, the Chinese consider it does the same thing to your system, and you can do it longest. That's accurate, Locke? Pretty much. That calligraphy is the longest-lived martial art. He doesn't want to tell me I'm wrong. He's so polite, right? What's that? So, Master Jiang at the One Wu School, has cheated death numerous times, still doing his calligraphy at age 80 what now? 93, right? His calligraphy is just as good as ever. So, you can practice that martial art, keep you healthy and young for a long time. Okay. Number 2, if you are interested in our Buddha recitation retreat, 3-day retreat over Thanksgiving, sign up now. Sign up now. We have, as of today, is it no longer 35? It's probably closer to what, 40? More than that. We only have 60 places. We're going to add 20 bowing benches. Look at the bowing benches. Imagine 10 more here, 10 more here. Probably 15 more here, 5 more here because of the way the hall is built. That's it. Once those people sign up, we'll have to do it again because incredible limitation. How do you sign up? Okay, one more spot's going. Locke, how do we sign up? Oh, I did. I thought you were in charge of it. No? Oh, it's Jinchuan. Sorry, my apologies. BerkeleyMonastery.org. Okay? BerkeleyMonastery.org. You don't see it? Uh-oh. How do we sign up? Oh, Alan, do you have... There was a link. Should be. Was it removed?
Was up, but then was taken down for more review.
Taken down for more review. Okay, the answer is practice patience.
Yeah, the page should be up, in a few days.
The page will return. So we don't want to be in the situation where we have to say to you, sorry, no more room, but if you wait until next week, chances are we'll be full. And we're 5 weeks out, 5 weeks ahead. So. And you can't bribe anybody. It doesn't matter how much money you have. We will not slide. So the answer is berkeleymonastery.org is the place where that link will appear, should you choose to come. It will be 3 days of reciting, lunch only, no overnight. We just don't have room. It's designed, and we're going to do it in silence. We'll recite in silence that week. We're going to have highway plaque boards if people want to write a dedication plaque for your relatives or friends. And should you want to sign up now, tonight, should they talk to who? Chin Posher, do you want to do it? Or who can? Alan, do you want to be can you do it? You have access to the computer, right? I don't put you on the spot. Who wants to be our sign-up? Yuanlin, you want to be our sign-up guy? Yuanlin, find him over here. Raise your hand. He's really there. There he is. He's behind the podium. So, Yuanlin would be happy to take your sign-up tonight if you choose to. Okay, but don't wait. If you think you might want to come, you better sign up. And if you sign up and take that place and are a no-show, think of the karma involved. My God. No, we'll. There will be plenty of standbys. Line up 1 to 30 on this side of the sign and 31 to 60 on the other side of the sign. So that's coming up. Otherwise, I think, yeah, Kai. Starts Friday. Friday before Thanksgiving. The day after. Thanksgiving is Thursday, Friday. And we will be offering the Eightfold Precepts at 8 a.m. Friday morning. If you want to take the Bhagwan Sai Jia, the Eightfold Precepts, you can do that. You should be there early. Like to say, if you know, there's 60 people, it's a pretty manageable number. There's an option to take the Eightfold Precepts, there's an option to do plaques. You need to let us know about that, and Jin Fo Shi will be taking the plaque dedications and then writing them. Also, if you want the Eightfold Precepts, he's also someone to talk to. That's an option. The Eightfold Precepts take about an hour to transmit, and that'll be from 8 to 9, and we'll start 9 a.m. on Friday morning. Okay. We're a small branch monastery. That's why we haven't done these things before, and these are all the details. Gold Mountain, they do this all the time. You know, San Jose, they do it all the time. 7 days. Okay, so tune in. See you next Saturday for the next exciting installment of How the 12 Links Make Us Suffer or Liberate Us. Can you wait? Can you stand the tension? Can you wait? How's it going to come out in the end? With patience. Okay, see you next week. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Namo Da Phang Guan